iOS 7 was a very controversial update, from it redesigning pretty much everything and being notoriously buggy on launch and especially in beta. So I had a really smart idea. Why not just give the first beta a try? So today we will be trying out the very first beta of iOS 7 on an iPhone 5. So let's get into this. First of all, we will need to restore the very first beta of iOS 7 onto this thing. And now we will be using Powder Snow to do this, as right here I have an iOS 7.1 device, and we will be taking the blobs from this to restore iOS 7.0 beta 1. On this Mac, I have the IPSW file for iOS 7.0 beta 1, and I'm going to be using Legacy iOS Kit to restore that onto this device. So let me get this device connected up with a lightning cable, and of course right here I have Legacy iOS Kit, so let me get Legacy iOS Kit up and running here. It's probably, I guess I don't have to update it. We're going to do a restore downgrade, and I'm also going to disable baseband update. I heard this from somebody in Legacy Jailbreak's Discord server to try this, probably throw in their user. And okay, so now we're going to do a restore downgrade. We're going to use Powder Snow 7 blobs, good IPSW file, yeah, right here, 7.0. I'm going to select my base IPSW for iOS 7.1, and finally I can select my base SHSH. So I'm going to go to my downloads, I'm going to go to my old Legacy iOS Kit folder from forever ago where I have my blobs for this device, SHSH. I believe that's it, so I'm going to hit choose, and okay, just like that, I can now hit start restore. iOS beta detected jailbreak not work popular. So I'm just gonna hit no. no. I'm gonna avoid jailbreaking because I have no idea how buggy this will be when I do this. So anyway, let's use Pwn DFU. So now this device will pop in recovery mode. Oh, I have to hit trust. Okay, send device to recovery mode. All right, now we're gonna put the device in DFU mode. So how that works is we hold the power and home button for about 8-ish seconds and then let go of that power button and keep holding the home button for another 8-ish seconds. And okay, in a second we're about to go start restoring. And device got successfully pwned. So now we are going to be restoring iOS 7.0 beta onto this device. So I'll leave this on time lapse. If you want to skip to the next chapter where we actually start messing around with this beta, feel free. But this will be on time lapse, so this shouldn't be really long. Okay, after 10 minutes of restoring, I believe iOS 7 is booting on this thing. I will throw this right here so you can see. This will be interesting. Okay, looks like it's doing one final flash before it boots. Okay, good sign. And okay, wow, that is such a thin font. Oh my god. If you know what the iOS 7 setup screen looks like that, it literally looks nothing like this. That font is so thin. Okay, now what the f is that sound? Okay, let's set up iOS 7 on this device, shall we? Let me connect up to my Wi-Fi. Okay, let's enable location services, set up that, skip the Apple ID stuff, because obviously that will not work. Agree, use Siri, don't send. And wow, just like that, we are on the very first beta of iOS 7 that first released after WWC 2013. I did disable baseband update, and wow, that settings looks so weird. Whoa, okay. Let's go check out the version number, of course. And there you go, iOS 7.0. And if I show you what the settings menu looks like on final release versus the very first beta of iOS 7, you'll see what I mean. This just looks so weird. Like, it went with this all blue and white look versus like colored icons on each of these things and options. So very interesting that they changed this, but yeah, and overall, I know how I mentioned the font overall looks significantly thinner. I think they're using some ultra thin version of Helvetica Neue, and they're using a slightly more thicker version on iOS 7 full release. And this is iOS 7.0.4, so this is one of the earlier versions of release iOS 7, but you can kind of see how weird this is overall. And this gets even weirder if we go look at the wallpapers. So like, look at that. That's quite literally the iOS 6 lock screen on iOS 7 right there. And of course, this is what it's meant to look like right on final release. And another thing I noticed is the apps are significantly lower down on iOS 7 beta versus final release, and that's just a very little thing. Now let's go take a look at the wallpapers, and oh yeah, look, another visual bug right there. Looks like the wallpapers are just not showing up for me. Here, they are. So this is very interesting. And not only that the wallpapers are not showing up, this quite literally is an iOS 6 graphic on iOS 7. So very weird. And another thing I noticed from just messing around with this thing, let's go look at the control center on iOS 7. Release, right? Now let's look at it on the beta. Very weird. I don't even think you can access AirPlay on full release here, but it's on iOS 7.0 beta 1 for some reason. I do not know why, but it's very interesting. And also, like, if we look at deeply at like these music player thing right here, it just shows like the 000 automatically when you're not playing something, but here it has like a couple dashes on the final release. And this wallpaper you're looking at right now never made it to the final release if we look through the wallpaper selection on the final release of iOS 7. Things like the weather app appear to not have changed, so nothing really unique here. The notification center does look significantly different. This one has like less contrast versus the final release, and the text up here is lowercase versus uppercase on the final release. And let's go to the all tab. Nothing different here, just looks like this has less contrast, well, there won't be anything on both of these, but you can kind of see that. Let's scroll down and look at stocks. Nothing significantly different here as far as I can see. I want to see if I can get these wallpapers to pull up, so I'm going to power the device on and off, and oh my god, look at that slide to power off on here. Let's look at iOS 7.0. Let's go pull up the slide to power off, and that is so weird. Oh my god. I also just noticed something when doing a reboot. The slide to unlock sequence is significantly different. It has a slightly thinner looking font as usual, and it does not have that like little dash arrow thing when you slide to unlock. And it also has that iOS 6 slide to unlock sound there too as well. Let's check out some other things like folders, and this is so unblurred. Like the folders background's literally blending into the wallpaper. It's so weird. Also, let's try out some of these shortcuts from the control center. Let's see how this works. Interesting animation. Camera. I guess that one's not as buggy as the other one. Let's try out this one. World clock. Okay, that's not really buggy either. Let's just go through the clock app since I have it right here. I don't really see many differences from the final release. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Maybe this is a brighter white. I honestly cannot tell. Let's take a look at the Notes app. I'm curious how much this changed. It really didn't change. The Maps app looks slightly less flat on here. I don't know how else to describe it. If we look deeply on like that search bar right there, it kind of reminds me of like Google's early material design with how it looks, where it kind of has like a little shadow there, and it also has a slightly different design at the bottom. Like I have the option for 3D right here and some slightly different icons compared to the full release. Let's try out multitasking and see if anything's different here. Nothing different from what I can see. If you go into FaceTime, you can see this has way less contrast on the blur with me in the background, of course, and this one's much more blurry and has like a white look on top of it. So very interesting. Also, every once in a while, I get this bug where half the dock just disappears. I'm not sure why, but it's like half the blur effect just goes away. It's very weird. The search function also really does not look much different, although this looks like a lot less blurred here. But yeah, there's not much difference in the videos application. Let's take a look at the game center because I'm kind of curious on how this looks. The only difference here is when it fully loads up right here, it says game center instead of sign in with your Apple ID on 7.0 beta. And there's also a slightly different read here. So it says use your Apple ID to play games with your friends wherever they are on the beta. Full release, it says start using Game Center with your Apple ID to play games online with your friends wherever they are. So just a slight difference in wording, but kind of weird. And down here, it has some slightly different options, although I think they do the same thing. Want a different ID for Game Center versus create a new Apple ID. Forgot your Apple ID or password, and it's just the same. But yeah, you can kind of see how many differences there are. It's just such a weird beta. But I mean, for the biggest redesign ever, it's all right. It's very buggy. Let's take a look at Newsstand now. The only difference is the text down here is unreadable for some reason. It really has the same amount of blur from what I can see. Status bar, some shadows when it goes into apps. I just noticed that. It doesn't really have that on full. No difference in the calendar. And know how the beta has that weird slide to unlock? I just noticed on full release that weird slide to unlock still made the cut if you go to the wallpaper selection. So pretty cool. And overall, there's much more shadowing on iOS 7 Beta 1 overall compared to the final release, which honestly looks a bit better with all the parallax effects. I don't know why they didn't keep this. It's not really mimicking much anyway, so I don't know why they couldn't just keep in drop shadows. Drop shadows does not mean it's not minimalistic. I don't know. Another thing I just noticed is on iOS 7 beta, the flat icons for all these third-party apps that are connected to iOS are still skeuomorphic and glossy. But if we look at the final release, they are actually flattened out. There is virtually no difference in the camera app other than the HDR option being towards the bottom with a much more unreadable thing. The only difference from beta to the final release in the Contacts app is the search bar is left aligned instead of center aligned. It also has, instead of like a all white thing around the search bar, it's black on the final release versus the beta. So weird. And from looking around here, there's not many other significant differences other than the voice memos application being absent from the iOS 7.0 beta. I really don't know why this was on iOS 7.0 beta. Very weird. Maybe it's because of the certain IPSW file I'm using. I don't know. It's just so weird. Such a weird operating system. But overall, that just kind of concludes my look at this. There's not much other stuff I can go look at. I mean, I can look at the stocks app. There's nothing different here, noticeably, other than there being a Yahoo thing down here. Although this could be different because I'm using a tweak to fix this. But yeah. But again, that concludes my look at iOS 7.0 Beta 1 on this iPhone 5. If you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, I sure did. There are so many bugs with this beta and so many differences to the final release. It's just such a weird beta. It's kind of like iOS 26 Beta 1 in a way because it's super buggy and there's a ton of changes. Like on the second beta of iOS 26 got much less transparent, and overall there were so many liquid glass changes, and it just kind of reminds me of that. But anyway, again, if you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like, subscribing with notifications on, sharing this to someone that would find this interesting. Please consider using the hype feature as it helps out the video and the channel. Check out my social media accounts, which will be in the description and the end card. I have a TikTok, I have a Twitter, I have a Reddit, and I have a second YouTube channel. And anyway, this has been Derek from Certified Legacy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
What we do here is go back.